Can a machine truly live by borrowing from our own life force? Imagine a watch, strapped to your wrist. It doesn't need a battery. It doesn't need winding. It doesn't need the sun. Instead, it needs something far more personal. It needs you. It needs your blood. This isn't a story from a gothic novel. It's a question that teeters on the edge of modern science. Could we create a device that draws its power directly from the very liquid that sustains us? The idea is both fascinating and deeply unsettling. It forces us to ask, what is the boundary between man and machine? This concept pushes the limits of our imagination. Join us as we peel back the layers of this fascinating and disturbing mystery. Our bodies are remarkable engines. Every second of every day, a universe of activity is happening inside you. Your heart pumps, your lungs breathe, your brain fires off signals. All of this activity generates energy. We produce heat. We create electrical impulses. Our bodies are home to a complex soup of chemicals. We are, in a very real sense, walking, talking batteries. For centuries, scientists and dreamers have looked at the human body as a potential source of renewable power. We are a constant source of energy, waiting to be tapped. Consider the simple act of walking. With every step, your foot strikes the ground with force. This kinetic energy is usually lost as tiny vibrations and heat. But what if we could capture it? Engineers have developed piezoelectric materials that generate charge when squeezed or bent. Imagine shoe soles that charge your phone as you walk. Prototypes of these devices already exist. The energy doesn't just come from our movements. The average human radiates about the same amount of heat as a 100-watt light bulb. The quest to power devices using the human body is not a new one. It has a long and curious history, filled with forgotten inventors' strange contraptions. Long before microchips and lithium-ion batteries, pioneers were tinkering with this idea. In the 18th century, inventors were fascinated by electricity. They discovered metals could create a current and turned their attention to the human body. Early experiments created simple circuits using human saliva as an electrolyte, producing a tiny but measurable electrical charge. One notable early example is the self-winding watch, invented in the 1770s by Abraham Louis Perellet. It didn't use electricity. It used the wearer's motion to wind the mainspring. A small weight inside the watch swung back and forth as the wearer walked. That movement kept the watch ticking. In the 1980s, Seiko introduced the thermic. So, how could a watch actually run on human blood? The idea might sound like something out of a vampire movie, but the science behind it is surprisingly straightforward. It revolves around the galvanic cell, the basic principle behind batteries. You need two different metals, and a special liquid, called an electrolyte. Place the metals in the electrolyte, and a chemical reaction occurs. That reaction pushes electrons to flow from one metal to the other, creating an electrical current. Now, apply that to the human body. Blood is a fantastic electrolyte. It's salty, it's a complex fluid, and it's full of charged particles called ions. To build a blood-powered battery, you need two biocompatible electrodes. Very, very small. Eider sor, ner oder eri. Tiny needles, microneedles. One needle could be copper, the other could be zinc. When microneedles pierce the top layer of skin and reach blood-rich capillaries, the circuit closes. The chemical reaction begins almost instantly. Blood acts as the bridge between the two metals. The zinc electrode slowly dissolves, releasing electrons. Those electrons flow through the watch circuitry to the copper electrode, powering the device. It's a form of controlled corrosion. The watch literally eats the metal electrode. Macabre, but it's basic chemistry turning your body into a living battery. The power is small, not enough for a smartphone or laptop. But modern low-power watches need very little energy. A steady, slow, microneedle galvanic reaction could theoretically keep a simple watch ticking indefinitely, as long as contact with blood is maintained. The watch wouldn't just tell time, iskibi amarudi indikem. It's to be ward in parody. It would be a constant, living demo of chemical energy in your veins. Okay, let's dive a little deeper into the science, but, let's keep it simple. Think of a battery like a tiny controlled waterfall. At the top of the waterfall, you have a lot of potential energy. This is your zinc electrode, which is just eager to give away its electrons. At the bottom of the waterfall is your copper electrode, which is actually happy to accept those electrons. The water flowing from top to bottom is the flow of electrons, the electrical current. But just like in nature, the water can't flow without a riverbed. In our blood-powered watch, your blood is that riverbed. It's the electrolyte that allows the electrons to make the journey. So, we've explored the science. We know that in theory, a watch powered by human blood is possible. This opens a door to a future that is both strange and exciting. If we can power a watch this way, what else could we power? Imagine tiny implanted medical sensors powered by the body. Glucose, monitors that never need a battery change. Pacemakers drawing energy from the bloodstream lasting a lifetime. This could revolutionize medicine. More reliable, less invasive. Earbuds charging from electrolytes in our sweat. Fitness trackers running on body heat and movement. Augmented reality contact lenses powered by chemical reactions in tears. We become a self-sustaining ecosystem of person and technology. Now, I want to bring you into this mystery. What are your thoughts on this? Does it excite you, or make you uncomfortable? What other devices could we power with our bodies? We stand at a crossroads, looking at a very different future. We've journeyed through the theory and the science, but has anyone actually built a blood-powered watch? The answer is a little complicated, shrouded in mystery and unconfirmed reports. There have been several claims and prototypes over the years, but none have ever made it to the mass market. One of the most famous stories involves a Russian inventor in the early 2000s who claimed to have created a simple digital watch that ran on blood. He presented his work at a small, obscure invention fair, but his claims were never independently verified. The inventor's prototype was said to use two small needles made of a secret alloy. He would prick his finger, place a drop of blood across the two needles, and the watch would flicker to life, running for several hours on that single drop. Was he a misunderstood genius, ahead of his time, or was it a clever trick, a hoax designed to capture the imagination? Without the ability to study the device, it's impossible to say for sure. The story has become a legend in the world of fringe science, a tantalizing what-if that continues to inspire speculation. More recently, credible scientific research has brought us closer to this reality. The dream is slowly becoming a reality. As we get closer to making these devices a reality, we must pause and ask ourselves some difficult questions. The science may be sound, but what about the ethics? Is it right to create a technology that requires us to pierce our own skin and draw our own blood? For some, this may be a line that should not be crossed. The idea of a device that feeds on us can be deeply unsettling. It brings up primal fears about parasites and violation of the body. We must consider the psychological impact of wearing such a device. The questions become even more complex when we think about who might use this technology and why. For a medical implant that saves a life, the small prick of a needle might be a tiny price to pay. But what about consumer electronics? Would people be willing to bleed for their gadgets? Could this create a new kind of social divide? The potential for misuse is significant. It's a conversation for all of us. We began with a simple, shocking question. Can a watch run on human blood? We have traveled from the pages of Gothic fiction to the cutting edge of materials science. We've seen that the answer is a tentative, but very real, yes. The science is plausible. The prototypes exist. The human body is a source of untapped power, and we are learning how to harness it. Just because we can do something, does that mean we should? What do you think the future should look like? Is this a future you would embrace? Share this story. Discuss it with your friends, and let's continue to explore these questions together. The future is coming, one tick at a time. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss what comes next.